Strategy trivia number 6. Stretch your dollars effectively. So the thing is, two people can essentially have the same experience, but one might spend way more than the other. So let me give you some examples between people not being effective with their money and other people being effective with their money so that I can help you understand this a little bit better. So for example, let's take a Caribbean cruise. So let's take one person, ineffective Ivan, and then we'll call the other effective Evan. So ineffective Ivan, let's say he picks the most expensive week of the year to go on this cruise. And then he pays full price for the cruise, what they're asking for. And then he does all the tourist trap excursions when he's on the cruise. And then he buys all the tourist trap souvenirs. You put it all together and he ends up paying $4,000 for his Caribbean cruise trip. Ineffective Ivan pays $4,000 for his cruise. But, okay, then you could have effective Evan. So he picks a slightly off-peak week of the year to go on the cruise. Let's say he buys a special promotion discount and then finds, when he's on the cruise, he finds the local excursion activities instead of the tourist trap ones. And then let's say he buys genuine local souvenirs instead of all the ones that are at the tourist traps. And he ends up paying $1,000 for his Caribbean cruise trip. That's a $3,000 difference for pretty much the exact same experience. Think about that. $4,000 in Ivan's case, $1,000 in Evan's case. That's $3,000 difference, almost same experience. Talk about stretching your dollars and using them effectively. Or here's another example. So if you have ineffective Ivan buying a car and effective Evan buying a car. So let's say ineffective Ivan, so let's say Ivan is in a hurry to get the purchase over with. He doesn't want to deal with the headache of having to search for a car, so he wants to get the purchase over as soon as possible. He doesn't search online. He only goes to one dealership and he buys a brand new car. And he's not worried about the full price. He's only worried about getting the lowest monthly payment. And so the salesman actually gets him to commit to a car and pay $25,000 for it. Okay? So $25,000 for Ivan's car, which is going to get him around and help him drive to places. Okay, then you have effective Evan. So Evan, let's say he is patient. He takes his time to make the right purchase. He searches online and compares many different options and goes to a bunch of different sellers and dealerships to check out cars and make sure that he's getting a good deal. So then he chooses a 3-year-old car instead of a brand new one. And then he's very concerned about the full price and not about some monthly payment. And so he spends time negotiating on the full price, not so much about the monthly payment. And then he ends up paying $7,000 for his car. And that's real. Like, I paid only $6,000 for mine. So in Ivan's case, you have him paying $25,000 for his car. And in Evan's case, you have him paying $7,000 for his car. So if you combine those two experiences of going on a cruise and buying a car together, you have Ivan paying $29,000 for the cruise and the car, and you have Evan who ends up paying $8,000 for the cruise and the car. So between the two experiences alone, there's a $21,000 difference. Are you getting that? That's ridiculous. Seriously, $21,000 difference with almost the exact same results. So the thing is, you want to invest the time up front on the front end so that you use your money effectively. It's such a big deal. It's going to help your savings goals to stretch your dollars effectively. All right, just to sum up all the strategy trivia that I gave you, the first one was to make your money work for you. The second one was to make your spending less than your income. The third was to differentiate your needs from your wants. The fourth was to remove temptations. The fifth was to pay down your high interest debt. And the sixth was to stretch your dollars effectively. If you use all those 6 strategies in your savings goals, you're going to reach them so much faster than the next person who doesn't. All right, so here's what the savings start to finish paradigm looks like. So we started you out in session 1 about discovering your values. So the first step was finding your values. Then we gave you some healthy philosophy. So now we're trying to formulate your goals. So your values beget your personalized goals. And that's what we're trying to identify right now. So in challenge 3, you are going to actually put pen to paper and formulate your goals from your values. So after that, your goals will actually create your motivation to handle your money wisely and to use it effectively. And that motivation, like I said, is actually going to drive your behavior. And then your healthy and constructive money behavior is going to produce the results that you want to see. So your values will beget your goals, which is going to lead to your motivation and drive your behavior and create your results. So values, goals, motivation, behavior, results. Values, goals, motivation, behavior, results. Now we're going to move into formulating your goals. So what I want you to do is get smart with your goals. I'm sure you've heard of this before, but I need to re-emphasize it because it's very practical. So in the beginning of challenge 1, you identified your values. Now it's time to start thinking about formulating the goals from those values. But we want to make sure that those goals are smart. So SMART goals means that they are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So if you make sure that you have those 5 things in a goal that you create, it's going to make sure that the goal serves the purpose that you intended it to have. Because by making it specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, it will be something that you can actually achieve and measure and is relevant to what you want, and there's a restriction on when it's going to happen. So by making it finite so that it's clearly defined as to what you're trying to achieve, you make it tangible. By making it measurable, you can quantify how much you'll need to save to reach your financial goal. And then by making it realistic relative to your means, it means that it'll stay motivating and be achievable. So that if you make sure that it's something you care about because it's aligned with your values, that's going to continue to motivate you as you pursue the goal. And the fact that it's time-bound means that you can set time milestones and deadlines to keep you on track and accountable. All right, so to help you with this process, let me give you an example. So let's say one of the values that you identified for yourself in challenge 1 was that you really value travel. So if you spent some time thinking about it and came up with a SMART goal around travel, you might say, I want to save $1,000 for a Caribbean vacation in April. So the great thing about this goal is that it aligns with all 5 of those metrics. Is it specific? Yes, I've made it very specific what my goal is. Is it measurable? Yes, I know that I need $1,000 to go on this cruise, so I've quantified it. Is it achievable? Yes, I could do that. I could save $250 a month over 4 months, and then I'd get to that $1,000 that I need for the cruise. Is that relevant? Yes, well, if I value travel, then that's something that I would really appreciate and feel rewarded in doing, so it would be a motivating savings goal. And then is it time-bound? Yes, the cruise is in April, so I know how much time I have to work up to that goal. All right, let me give you another SMART goal example. Let's say in challenge 1, you identified the value of freedom and that you really value your freedom. So if I was running a balance on my credit card, maybe that would be stopping me from switching jobs even though I really don't care for my job. Or if I wanted to move cities, but I'm not able to because I'm held back by that credit card debt, that would be inhibiting my freedom. So I might say, I want to pay off my $3,000 credit card balance within 6 months. So that's a really good SMART goal. Is it specific? Yes, I've made it very specific, exactly what I'm trying to do. Is it measurable? Yes, I know I need $3,000 to pay off my credit card balance. Is it achievable? Yes, I could save $500 a month over 6 months, and then I'd have my $3,000 that I needed to pay it off. Is it relevant? No credit card debt will make me more free, so of course I would want that to have more freedom. And is it time-bound? Yes, I've said I need to do it within 6 months. Again, this is how we would formulate a SMART goal for yourself. So this is what I want you to do in challenge 3 when you're doing this on your own. All right, third and final SMART goal example. I really want to hammer this home because I want to make sure that you get it so that you can formulate your own goals that are smart and that you'll actually be able to achieve them. So let's say a value that we identified for ourselves was that we really like stability in our lives. So the lack of savings could really be creating an instability in my life. I never know what's going to happen in the future because any bill could put me on the street because I don't have any money in the bank. So my goal might be to build a $10,000 emergency fund in 1 year. Now that's a bigger goal, but nonetheless, that would create stability for me. So does this measure up to the SMART metrics? Well, yes, it's very specific. I've specified exactly what I'm trying to do. Is it measurable? Yes, I'm saying I need $10,000. Is it achievable? Well, if it's 20% of my take-home pay in a year, then it might be a little tricky, but it's doable. Is it relevant? Well, having that money in the bank would create a financial safety net for me that would really create stability so that when unexpected expenses come up, like a medical bill or a car repair, then I can pay for those and it doesn't put me out or create instability in my finances and the rest of my life. And then is it time bound? Yes, I'm saying I'm going to do this within 12 months and I'll know I'm on track if I'm saving $833 a month. So I'll have stepping stones along the way to know that I'm on track. So moving on through this conceptualization of the savings start to finish paradigm, we've gone from your values to your goals and now talking about the motivation. So we're thinking about bridging the gap between your goals and the behavior. So this is where your motivation comes in. So some goals that you have are going to be really big. So you want to create stepping stone motivation. What I mean by that is, for example, in the last goal, we talked about a $10,000 emergency fund. That goal is a lot bigger than the other goals that we talked about. If a goal is too big, here's a conceptualization you can think of. It can be difficult to cross a river when the river is really wide. And it can be difficult to accomplish a financial goal when the financial goal is too big. So remember, your goals create motivation. If you have big goals, they can be intimidating and actually demotivating because the task is too big. So we need to set the smallest goals first to create stepping stones to your big goals. Because progress is motivating, and we want to reward yourself for progress and success. If you go through this exercise and you say one of your goals is to buy a house, that's usually too big of a goal to start with. You want to start smaller. So if that is your main goal that you want to accomplish, you might create some stepping stones along the way. So your first stepping stone could be to say, build a $2,000 fund. And then once you hit that $2,000, then you could say the second stepping stone would be to hit $5,000. Then the next stepping stone could be to hit $10,000. And then once you hit 10, you could say the next one would be $15,000. And then once you hit that 15, you could say, okay, the last stepping stone, the last goal is to actually buy the house. So you see there, instead of the goal just being to buy a house, which is a very expensive thing to save for, you make little stepping stones along the way so that you can feel that progress, even though it's the same thing, but you feel the progress along the way and you're motivated by that progress along the way. So moving along in the paradigm, hopefully the stepping stones create motivation, and once you have your goals and motivation in place, the behavior can much more easily follow suit. So let's talk about behavior. Remember, your motivation will drive your behavior. This is where you'll channel your new money philosophy and put it to work. You want to be identifying and implementing new constructive savings behaviors and identifying and eliminating old destructive spending behaviors. So out with the old and in with the new. And you could also think of it this way. Small, uncomfortable savings behaviors at first will then lead to small savings goals wins, which is then going to lead to motivating you, which is then going to lead to you repeating the savings behaviors, which is then going to lead to those behaviors becoming habits, which is then going to make the uncomfortable savings behaviors become pain-free saving habits. So you see that effectively you went from uncomfortable or painful behaviors to easy and pain-free habits. So remember, we just talked about general saving strategies earlier, but then the behaviors are the nitty-gritty actions that you're taking to actually make savings happen. All right, so here's an example. Let's say your old behavior might have been after you get a bonus from work, you usually go to the casino and end up going crazy and you lose it all. Big bonus comes in and you just blow it on something like a night out to the casino where you just are really frivolous and waste it all. So your new behavior might be, well, after you get that bonus, you could do a poker night in with your friends, and then you do a modest buy-in instead of just something crazy at the casino. And that way you're almost doing a similar thing. You're playing poker or you're having fun with your friends, but you end up saving yourself a ton of money and preventing bad mistakes that you'll regret later. Here's another example. So let's say the old you, on Sundays, you would go to the mall and you buy too many clothes and you couldn't control your spending. So the new you go to the park instead of the mall and you do outdoor activities with your friends or you play sports or whatever. And that could be free and you're not spending any money and having fun with your friends instead of at the mall blowing through a ton of money on things you don't need. One more example might be on Friday nights, you usually go out and spend $100 on drinks and entertainment at bars and stuff. So the new paradigm could be that on Friday nights, you're going to invite your friends over and hang out at your place instead of going out to places. And even if you're hosting and buying the snacks and stuff, it's going to be way, way cheaper. And you're actually better connected with your friends in that case. A lot of these examples, you're actually ending up with better things for less money. So the last part of the savings start to finish paradigm is to watch the results. So a combination of your goals, motivation, and new behavior is going to create your results. So let it become a game for you. I want the process of reaching your savings goals to actually become a game for you, which is going to be exciting and fun and motivating and keep it ingrained as a behavior that is going to become habits for you in your life. At first, it might be difficult or against what you want to do, but over time, it's going to become what you actually want. And you will see yourself reach your savings goals. That's going to motivate you more and encourage you, and it's going to become pain-free. Things that once what you didn't want are going to become what you do want, and you'll create your own feedback loop. And let me show you what that looks like. So if you start implementing good savings behavior and good financial behavior, that's going to lead to you reaching your goals. And when you start reaching your goals, that's going to be motivating. When you're motivated, saving money is going to feel pain-free. And when it feels pain-free, that's going to make you want to do more good savings behavior. And then that's going to keep cycling through and through and through. So you're going to have more good financial savings behavior, which is going to make you reach more financial goals, which is going to motivate you more, which is going to make it even more pain-free. And it'll just keep cycling more and more. And it'll be that game that feels better and better as you do it more and more. And you'll get better at it. So to land this plane and bring things to a close here, I'll just kind of prep you for challenge 3. We're progressively building on what you have learned and self-identified to create a customized savings plan that is unique, relevant, and motivating to you. So challenge 3 is going to be about getting specific with your savings goals, as we've talked about here. Yes, we know that you want to save money, but how much? Why? When? How are you going to do it? These are the questions that you're going to be answering in Challenge 3. So you're going to determine your savings mission, you're going to create your SMART goals, and you're going to identify your new behavior that is going to make you reach those goals. So look forward to that, and I hope that's extremely helpful for you. So that concludes Session 3 for Strategy of the Save Pain Free program. Go ahead and jump into Challenge 3, and then you can move on to Session 4.